Hello and welcome to the conversation. We are back again, as always, each week here, talking about things that you sometimes think about, but men especially don't always talk about. Yes, right here on the conversation, look, we don't mind talking about it, and we certainly have a lot to talk about today. Joining me, as always, each week, Jeff Fauntleroy.
Namaste.
DeMarcus Smith.
We back.
And Greg Kirkland Jr.
A chair, still a chair.
Oh, wow.
You can tell there's always one who can sing. Always one who can sing. Look, we're going to jump right into it. We got a lot to cover. Yes, but I got an interesting question I want to ask y'all today.
Yes, sir.
If you had a superpower,
Mm-hmm.
would you rather be able to read minds or predict the future?
Read mine off top.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Read minds. That way I know how to move.
Okay. Jeff?
I do have a superpower already, but if I had another one, it would be.
I don't think drinking is a superpower.
Y'all can see me? Y'all see me?
Oh, you're there, Reverend.
Oh, okay.
In all your glory.
Must be wearing off. I would say read minds. I would read minds. It would help me. I'm just going to leave it as that.
I think I would want to predict the future. I think I would. I think being able to read minds might cause me to, might drive me crazy. Yeah. If I know how you really feel about me,
Yeah.
I might just haul off and just,
That's it.
Because I know what the future is, because I can control the future.
Hey, right.
Control all that.
Yes,
What if
sir.
I know, what's to come?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm with Greg. I would rather be able to predict the future. I mean, because if I can predict the future, what you think about me really
Don't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
really don't matter to me.
Doesn't matter.
I can
It
predict the
doesn't
future. So
matter.
yeah,
That's the truth.
I just think there is a bigger advantage of being able to predict what's going to happen now.
Yeah.
Even if I don't have the ability to control it,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
at least
Yeah.
I know.
At least I know
Yeah.
what's
what's to
coming,
come.
and I can
Yeah.
and I
And
can
prepare.
adjust.
Yeah.
If I know a car, if I step out in the street tomorrow, that car is gonna be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I may,
See, yeah,
I may take the bus that day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
I'm
sir.
calling Uber.
I'm calling Uber that day. Right.
Yeah, I'm
All
calling
right.
Uber that day.
Oh man. All right, let's get the conversation started.
Yes,
Ready?
sir.
All right, look. Let's talk about cell phones and social media.
Uh-huh.
It's a part of our world.
Yep.
I've heard a comedian recently talk about back in the day, and I remember growing up with, before I'm 53, so I remember before cell phones was a thing and all that. So, and you had the house phone, and people didn't want to answer the phone. You would let the phone ring. You answer the phone.
Right.
You would get mad when you had to go in the house, go answer the, answer the phone.
Right.
And now we can't go minutes.
Yes,
all
sir.
of us. We all check our, and again,
Correct.
it's part of the world that we live in.
Right.
Part of, and part of it is having a TV show.
Right.
We have to be on it. Being in the industry that a lot of you are in,
Right.
you have to have that connected to you. It's just everywhere. All right, y'all ready for the conversation?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get it started. Social media, cell phones. We know they're a part of our world now. They're not going anywhere. A lot of pros to them, a lot of cons. So let's just talk about that a little bit. Let's just talk about some of the benefits of it. And then we'll work our way around. What are some of the benefits from it?
Well,
Jeff?
for the benefits, I mean, you got children, teenage-wise, you can get in touch with them. They can
right.
FaceTime you.
Sure.
For instance, some of my grandkids live in New Jersey. We couldn't get there during COVID.
Absolutely.
So, we had Christmas
Absolutely.
over FaceTime.
Sure.
The other pros to it, you've got the Zoom links. You can have meetings now with
Sure.
folks in different states,
Right.
different countries.
Absolutely.
And you could be in your car
Right.
traveling and
Absolutely.
attend a
Still
meeting
attend the
and not
meeting.
miss
Don't
a
have to be
beat.
in the boardroom.
Business-wise,
For sure.
you could promote your business.
Right.
If you're a speaker, a keynote speaker, you do a keynote
Sure.
through the phone.
Sure.
So if it's utilized properly,
Yeah,
I think it's good for us.
Absolutely.
DeMarcus?
I mean, I agree. I think the positive about social media, the cell phones, everything that's been upgraded and changed is it's an advantage for us because it gives us access to our world, but it can also give us access to the entire world, right?
Sure.
And at the same time, I mean, you've literally got everything at your fingertips.
Yeah.
And so if you know how to capitalize on it, if you know how to let that thing make money for you or put you in a positive light or whatever that looks like for you, your business, your relationship, whatever that is, I mean, you got people that are making millions. Billions of dollars right now. So, I mean, there's a lot of positives that's going to come with social media platforms, different types of social media, as these cell phones continue to upgrade, et cetera, man. It's just all based on how you capitalize on it.
From the social media standpoint, you know, I always say that I think that people don't necessarily understand the power of social media, that being, you know, from a business standpoint, as you guys have said, you know, as an entrepreneur, I've been in the entertainment industry since I was 13, you know, and I can only imagine where my career could be if Instagram was around when I was 13, you know, and Facebook and Twitter and all those things. And then in addition to that, the cell phone itself, I think I had a conversation one day with Benton Aladdin, who was our show's executive producer, and he was saying to me one day that the cell phone itself is so powerful and it costs so much money now because you have state-of-the-art camera, state-of-the-art computer. It's a computer in your hand.
It's a computer in your hand.
You know, you got your contacts, your Rolodex, you know, and then you can shoot videos, you know, and so you have professionals now that are using their phones to shoot film and to do professional photography and edits and things of that sort. So really, if you use it for good, you know, then you've got a gold mine in the palm of your hands.
Absolutely, and certainly, and you kind of alluded to it, in the platforms that you are all in your arenas, it certainly helps to stay, because now, like, it's about being relevant. It's about being relevant, and without those tools, it's hard to stay relevant because there's content. You mentioned TikTok. There are thousands and thousands of videos every minute, being put out there on the
every second.
every second being
second.
put out there. It's just it's strange, and I know when I think about when I was growing up, you know, you had two phones in the house, maybe. One on the wall,
Yes, sir.
and one in
sir.
your parents' bedroom.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
And
That's
that, you know, and before
that long cord.
that long cord.
Yes, sir.
And DeMarcus, you're too young to remember that.
It's had to unravel after 5 or 6 months.
And you didn't used to be able to push buttons. You had to. It was a
Oh,
rotary.
God.
You had to dial the
Rotary.
number.
The rotary, man. I had a rotary.
And it
I
was-
remember that.
And you
And
get to
it-
the 6th number and make that mistake. Go.
You got
Gotta
to
hang
start
up
all over
and dial
again.
again. And they showed. It was fun. They showed on YouTube, one of the social media platforms, this father gave his children put a phone in front of
A
them
rotary phone.
and told
Ask
them
them to
to
use
dial
it.
a number.
Yeah.
And they were
know
trying
what-
to put their fingers inside.
They didn't know what to
They
do.
had no clue
no clue.
how to dial. And it's just
so
funny.
good.
The struggle
how,
was
you know,
real, man.
Yeah, right.
Struggle
You
was
just rather
real.
have to dial 911.
Right. Yeah.
You in trouble now. You
Struggle
got to
was
wait.
real, man.
So it's amazing how far we've come.
Yes, sir.
But I also see, for all of those positive side, there is
Absolutely.
the technology is great.
Yeah.
And, you know, we think about all the apps that come. You can book your airline tickets. You can do your grocery shopping.
Absolutely.
Anything that you can do from your
Sure.
desktop, you pretty much can do from your phone.
Yeah.
With the smartphones. But also, what has it done to us as a society as it relates to being personable and having quality time,
Right.
even having our lives to ourselves? Because what happens is, now when you see something on social media, especially if you are, for example, Greg, you're out there in that industry, in the television world, in the music industry. If you see something out there, you have to just as quickly go and
Try to.
and undo
Yeah.
what has
Yeah.
might have been
damage
put
control.
out there.
For
You know,
sure.
because it could be, because so much is out there. We know
Yeah.
everything that's out there
Yeah.
is not true.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's people's opinions.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do you think in some way that our phones hold us hostage?
Well,
Oh, absolutely.
one of the issues is the availability for bad information to go forward. And what happens is we're so used to just clicking it and looking, and then we take it
for what it is.
and instead of going underneath and doing our own research
That's
to
good.
see what it is,
Sure.
then we go and we share it. One click.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, this is interesting. We share it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And next thing you
don't
know, that
fact check
lie
it.
goes all around. And unfortunately, somebody is hurt by that
Wow.
Wow, that's
because it's misinformation
Sure.
that is spread without somebody taking the time to say, wait a minute, let me fact check this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's one of the problems. And the other problem I see is, people become artificial.
Yep.
Because I can take a photo of myself, put a filter on there,
Yeah.
clean some stuff up,
Be anything. That
and be anything.
That's right.
For sure.
And then the problem with our young ladies and our young men, they don't get likes. They go to school. They're being teased.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we're seeing cyberbullying.
For sure. For
Sure.
sure.
And we're seeing young
Suicides.
kids committing suicides
Absolutely.
because they don't feel love
Absolutely.
because they're not getting
absolutely.
likes.
Oh yeah, I believe so. Just as positive as it is that we have access to the world, it's flipped. The world has complete access to you.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so
That's good.
you've got. I there's so many negatives that come with this, but I think two that stand out for me are when you look at social media, you look at where we've come to. People lose their authenticity.
Yes.
And because we have access to everybody, we can hide behind multiple identities.
Yeah.
We got this
Yeah.
freedom to where we can say whatever on anybody's page,
Absolutely.
Yep.
and our opinion matters,
Absolutely.
etc.
Absolutely.
We can tear down folks.
Yep.
Absolutely.
The work. So I think social media definitely, for those who have used it wrong, you lose the core of who you are.
Yes.
Because of what you can hide behind and what you can do.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then I think the flip side, the other thing that really just that's a strong negative for me in the social media world is just ultimately, once you get in it, you have people who you got bad people in every area.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So the access that we log on, we first sign up. We excited. We bypass all of the things
yeah,
that
absolutely.
the rights that we
Fine
giving
print.
away.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
read the fine print.
Yep.
And ultimately, it's like, man, once you sign up for this, your phone is open.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Right? And so even with the information that we type in,
Yeah.
everything is open. Anybody can find you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody can hack you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody can take your identity, the
Yeah.
work. So
Yeah.
that's where that security piece for a lot of people, I think we just don't care.
Yeah.
Just because we want to be where everybody else is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, somebody over in another country got your whole identity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You mentioned that both of you, the cyberbullying. It amazes me how upset people get on social media
oh yeah.
about people commenting on what they post.
Uh-huh.
It's social
Right.
Right.
media.
Absolutely.
When I first heard it,
But when
sure.
you put it out
Absolutely.
there, you put it out there to get a response.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't be upset because it's not the response
Right.
that you wanted. And again, in schools, so many school fights now
Yeah.
have nothing to do with you did anything to me, you touched
Yes,
me,
sir.
you,
Right.
did-
No.
you were
all
on my
about-
page,
Yeah.
controlling
This
me,
is
going
saying-
on.
Uh-huh.
And now when we meet up, it's a problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you have these battles going on because you can hide and be like
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
said,
You
be
can hide behind
anybody
the keyboard.
you want to be.
Yeah.
And
When I
so-
first heard the term cyberbullying, I said, that's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard until I saw the severity of
Absolutely.
it. And I said, oh,
Absolutely.
this is serious.
But that's the thing. It empowers people to hide behind the keyboard and say
Yeah.
whatever they
Anything
want.
they wanna
And
say.
so you think realistically, if you do something in person, half the people won't even say nothing to you.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's where most people are like, hold on, man.
Right.
If we were face to face, you wouldn't
You
be
would
saying
never
that.
say that.
Absolutely.
Now,
Yeah,
I've seen
absolutely.
it happen.
Yeah.
It happened to me. Someone said something about me, and they had to come back and say, hey, I'm sorry, because I didn't realize my family
People come from
They jumped on
everywhere.
it.
friends
Yeah. They jumped
Yes,
on it.
sir.
jumped on
Yes,
them
sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
and was, I was
Yes, sir.
like, whoa.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Hey, okay, y'all.
Yeah.
They made a mistake.
Sure.
Let's
Sure.
ease up.
Gotcha.
I was like, wow, this is real.
It is.
Oh,
I
yes,
totally
sir.
agree.
Greg?
I mean, I have if I think about it, I have 3 points.
Okay.
You know about that, like a preacher.
Point
Point number one.
Yes, sir.
You asked, have we become too dependent? And my answer to that is, if you leave your house and leave your cell phone,
Oh, yes, sir.
you going home.
Oh,
You got to go
Lord.
back and get
You
it.
got to go back and get it.
Man, you
can't
turned
get-
in the middle of 285.
Oh yeah,
Bust
to
that
go
Yui.
home and get it. So
got to.
And to that point, and keep all your points.
yes, sir.
I knew it was becoming a problem for me if I leave my phone in another room
Oh yeah.
and go get it. I
You got
just
to go get it.
Oh.
because it's like you go.
You can
find
feel it
yourself
vibrating.
Yeah.
Waking up in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
checking it. It's like you checking your phone
Woke up in the cold
in the middle,
sweat.
middle of the night, just
Bruh.
like
Yep.
looking at So yeah,
I just think that that's part of it. I think that we have become too dependent on our cell phone. Sometimes I look forward to my cell phone battery dying, just to give me a few minutes of of alleviation from it. That's one. The second thing is that I do agree that it opens us up to so many things to the point where colleges, jobs will check your social media now.
Absolutely.
that's good.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
They'll check your social media to see what type of person you are.
Yes, sir.
They want to know, what are you
Realistically,
into? What are you saying? What do you believe?
Yes,
what are
sir.
your, you know what I'm saying? What
Yes,
are your belief
sir.
systems? So all those things that we're exposed to so much now. We expose ourselves
Yeah.
so much now that so many people have access to us that,
Yeah,
that they
man.
wouldn't ordinarily have. The last thing I want to say is that, in my opinion, I think that one of the greatest damages that social media has brought to us is our inability now to speak truth to power.
Come on.
I think that now we're in a place and in a time where we have to monitor and watch everything that we say because of cancel culture.
Yeah.
Cancel culture is so great that the second that you say anything that a group of people or that a person, it could take one person to disagree with how you feel, and they can start a firestorm,
Yes, sir.
against you, and can open up this cancel culture thing. So I think if there's one thing, and I made a post about this recently because of a situation that happened, and I felt like people jumped on the bandwagon, and not to come to this person's defense, but just from a standpoint of, it was a 16-second clip,
Yes, sir.
and everybody lost their mind.
Yeah.
And it's like, what happened at 17? What happened? What happened before it? What happened after it?
Right.
But people were ready to cancel.
Absolutely.
You understand?
Absolutely.
Because of this small thing that they saw on social media. So if there was one thing that I would say that has made life difficult for leaders, for pastors, for politicians, for just upstanding people, is that it makes it difficult for us to speak truth to power or just speak what we believe.
And I'll take you one step further. Let's say, for instance, I posted something when I was 18.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The mentality of 18 versus where I'm at now
Absolutely.
is
Yes, sir.
totally different, but
But
they'll
it's
go
still
dig
there.
it up,
It's
Absolutely.
still there.
dig it up,
Something
Yep.
that you said.
and it's over.
It happens
Yeah.
all the time.
Yes, sir.
And what I've seen is it hurts to see what it's doing to, in my opinion, our young people.
Yes,
Sure.
sir.
Because it's driving our young people to where to not read as much.
Absolutely.
In books.
Absolutely.
They
No
don't
real
read as much.
conversations,
The
no real
conversations,
relationships. Yeah.
job interviews.
Short clips.
sir.
Job
Short
interviews.
clips.
The art of conversation is lost.
Yeah.
Spelling,
Conversations
grammar,
are
all that.
had.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
emoji grammar now.
It used
Oh, yeah.
to be.
Emoji
Yeah.
grammar,
Yeah.
We were teenagers.
Yep.
When you wanted to, even if you had a cell phone and you could text, if you were dating somebody, you called on the phone and you talked on the phone
Yeah.
for hours
Yeah.
until you fell asleep.
Yeah.
Type the whole
Yeah.
word out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now
Type
No
the whole
acronyms.
word.
You had a roll of quarters for
it's
the
all
phone booth.
you type these long, and now we have, having teenagers,
Yes, sir.
I have to know how they communicate.
Right,
And now,
absolutely.
and now there's the acronyms that you have to learn.
Everything. They don't use grammar.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
They cut all the words short. They take the vowels out.
W-Y-D.
Everything, everything.
So,
Yeah.
You just got one letter
yeah.
P.
So I think it really is the impact on our young people
I
as
agree.
far as
I agree.
because that's what they're doing. Now it's all texting,
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
and no conversation.
Absolutely.
And you brought up a great point about companies. The problem is the applicant doesn't know
Right.
that the
Checking them out.
company
Right.
turned you down
Because
because
of
on
what they
IG
saw on your social
You said
you
media.
had a
Yes,
picture of
sir.
you with the bottle service
Come on.
at the
Absolutely.
club.
Absolutely.
I just saw an example of that. An administrator or board member in Gwinnett. I don't know if you saw this in the news. She's coming under fire. Smart person, talented, and she had a post that showed her doing some kind of dance and stuff, and people are going crazy. It's going viral.
Wow.
The term viral.
Wow.
It's on the news, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, oh wow, this is something.
Yeah.
But I would say this.
This is something.
It
like,
is,
even where
honest.
we're at in the social media realm, we've already started to get into the cyber realm now.
Wow.
Right? So now if social media is one thing, but now we've got this metaverse cyber reality world that is starting to open up. So you've got people buying properties
Yeah.
and this stuff.
Yeah.
You got people, you know the movies we used to see, like The Matrix.
Right.
Or like something where you disconnect from reality
Right.
to step into. That's the new wave. that's
Virtual
rolling right now.
virtual reality.
Absolutely.
And so, but it's gotten to a point though where, like, I know, like, celebrities, they're buying properties in virtual reality, spending millions.
Wow.
And then a person like me, if I want to live next to Snoop Dogg in virtual reality, I got to come up on some money.
Crazy.
So, like, social media is one thing.
Yeah.
The new wave, virtual reality.
I mean, and it's everywhere. You think about even ministers, and it's a result of social media. You know, holograms
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
that they have now. You know, they have
Yeah.
holograms
Yes, sir.
where you can.
Yes, sir.
He's in
You
one
sit in the
place.
service and
See
then,
Tupac right there in the
you're another
restaurant.
place, and it appears he's on stage. I
Yeah.
mean, so it's all a
Yes, sir.
result of all of this social media that we're doing. So, how do you find balance? How do we get to back where there is a balance? Because again, we do know that we need social media. It is so important to how we connect.
Right.
You can respond to things so much faster. You can get your music out.
Right.
Yep.
You can
Absolutely.
somebody can see you rehearse a song and you can get that out and get a
Absolutely.
response and get feedback on
Absolutely.
it
For
instantly. You work with young people, you can get a message out instantly.
Yeah.
You work with disaster relief.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can hear about something and get
Yeah.
a response out and get a movement going instantly. So again,
Yeah.
it is so needed.
Yep.
Yeah.
But how do you find that balance to where even in your household,
Yes, sir.
there's less conversations.
Absolutely.
You see people out on dates.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
With their phones. You're
And
out on a date.
yeah.
A couple with
Yeah,
some
both of you on your
child.
phone.
Like,
Speaking
are
to
y'all
each other.
talking
And be
to
texting
each
each
other?
other.
Yeah,
right there
text each
tonight.
other, sitting at the table.
So how do you
Yeah.
find
Well-
balance or set some boundaries? How do
You know what,
One
Ron?
word.
Oh,
I
go ahead.
mean, well, two words. Just real simple. Just it's an intentional disconnect, right? So being intentional with disconnecting to remember reality,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Because like me and my wife, when we go out on our dates, it's intentional for us to put the phones away.
Yeah.
Whether they in her purse
Right.
or we leave them somewhere. But in that moment, being in tune with the reality, the moment, I think those are the pieces that we've definitely lost.
Yeah.
And it's harder for the younger generation because
Feel like they're gonna miss something.
they gonna miss
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or not even just the young generation, us.
Yeah.
So being intentional with your disconnect, like just remembering what we up here doing now, just chilling, talking,
Sure.
versus us. Hey,
Well,
say this, do that.
you know what? So on my phone, I think all of you have it. You get at the end of the week.
Yep.
You
End of the
report?
day,
Yeah,
the
you get a report.
Yep.
Well, I actually look at it to see, like, okay, where did I spend my time?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think about that, and I go, wow, that's time that I could have been doing this.
Wow.
So I actually look at it and monitor it.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But the other part of it is, so because of what I do, there's some rules. There's some rules that I put in place. When we go out, my wife knows that I will answer certain texts
Right,
if it's something, there's an emergency, something happened at the church I need to be aware of,
Right.
or with the kids or something.
Sure.
But other things, I can look at it
Right.
and say, okay, that's
Right. not
So, and there's
necessary.
tones I have set up also.
Okay, smart.
So, but yeah, I look at that and say, okay. And then now I'm starting to practice this thing of, all right, at certain times, I'm going to look
Shut it down.
and see what's going on.
It's
And then I'm
almost-
going
it
to go back
sounds like
to
an
it.
addiction.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
It is.
good.
It's
It-
a strong
an addiction.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is.
absolutely.
It is. I mean, think about it like this, and this might be TMI, but even using the restroom, right?
Uh-huh.
Now if you go in the restroom with your cell phone, you're gonna be in there for about at least 30, 45 minutes. You know, mess around and leave that cell phone on the counter and go. You're gonna be out in 5 minutes. You gonna, I'm through.
I did it this morning.
Bruh.
I used the restroom someplace.
We men, right? Hey,
And I left my phone, and I
it was lightning speed.
hey man, I was waiting in a red light. I went around, went through the red light, went down Panola Road, and was speeding. Ran through the store to open up that stall, and it was right there. I was like, "Ooh, thank you, Jesus!"
You had left your phone
in the bathroom.
Left the phone in the bathroom.
My goodness.
Credit cards, whole nine.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's funny. It has become one of the things that we regard most, and I get part of that because so much of our life
Absolutely.
is in that phone.
Yeah.
Everything.
Who remembers anybody's phone numbers?
It's hard, man. And
I remember.
I know my wife's
I
number.
know
my
about
mom's
5
number
numbers.
because my mom has had the
That's
same
it.
home number
Yeah.
That's it.
forever.
Yeah.
And I think I remember a few cell phone numbers, but you just
Yeah.
don't remember. You back in the day, you had to know numbers.
Oh,
You-
yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah.
had
Oh,
to
yeah.
know numbers. So
I remember the
Yes,
old
sir.
phone numbers from back in the day,
Yeah.
rather than now.
Yeah.
Because you
I-
dialed them all the time.
I'm actually ashamed because I think about that sometimes when I look at my
Yeah.
phone and I think to myself, I don't know this person's number. I know their contact, so I just automatically go to it.
Right.
But
Face it hit.
yeah, I just
Right.
know
and
their
if the number
contact.
pops up in your phone without
Without the
name,
contact, you know,
I ain't answering
you
it.
don't because you have no clue.
new phone, who this?
Yeah, who that?
exactly
Yeah,
right.
who's
That's
it?
what happened.
Hey,
I need to know.
Y'all need to know who calling
And
me.
I immediately put a tag on there. Do not answer right away.
Oh yeah.
So I think, to Jeff's point, I think it is about scheduling some time to where you do things, because I know I found myself, and to your point, that report, I see that report.
Yeah.
And in the last few weeks, it shows how, it's been down from the previous week.
Wow.
Right.
Because again,
You've been intentional.
I could wake up in the middle of the night, 3:00. Sometimes you wake up,
Yeah.
and I'm not expecting a call from anybody,
Right.
but you just pick up the phone,
Yeah.
and
Scroll
then
through
you
everybody
just
else.
start
Media,
looking.
yeah.
And again, because before you could turn your television on and watch a program, well now you can turn to TikTok and it'll be all the entertainment that you want to see.
Bruh.
So
And we'll keep you up the rest of the night.
absolutely
Keep you up the rest of the night.
So I think we do
It's
have
a-
to find
it's a
some balance, because
Deep pit.
They call it a rabbit
stuff
hole.
like this
Rabbit
is what does not happen anymore. DeMarcus said it.
agree.
These conversations
I agree.
do not happen where people are sitting around
Yeah.
and just talking at the dinner table. People are at a rush to eat,
Yeah.
so they can get up and go to the rooms and get on the phones or the
Yeah.
computers and all that. So again, it's just
You
about
gotta set
finding that
rules.
balance.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
But, hey, when we come to the family dinner, listen.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come on,
and some
man, we're
people
here.
even take them
Sure.
and put them in a bowl.
Yeah.
Right.
And say, look,
Absolutely.
cell phones go off at this time.
Absolutely.
And do that. So
Yeah.
again, a lot to talk about. Look, that's debatable coming up next. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot to talk about next. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
For Friends in the Book podcast, reading and reviewing the conversation by Hill Harper. If you have any desires to be in a relationship, to be married, I think it is a must that you have a conversation.
I think too, he talked about in the book being honest in your communication. Say a woman might be insecure about how she's looking, and instead of being honest with that about her partner, she'll say like, does this just make me look fat? And I think both men and women need to tap into how they're really feeling about something and be able to have that vulnerability and be comfortable. And like Chris said, have that environment to where you can be honest.
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
If your support system wasn't what you wanted, what do you suggest if a person's going through what you've gone through? What type of support system do you feel they would need to have?
They would need to open up to mental health. That's the first thing. As traumatic as it was, I know in the African American community of the brown people, we don't believe in mental health. And that was one of the strongest things that I went to.
When you have dealt with disappointments on our level, how the devil really wants you to isolate yourself. You want to get to counseling. You want to get to people who've gone through the same things that you've gone through.
Welcome back to the conversation. It's time for That's Debatable. And on the last segment, the topic of cancel culture came up. That kind of segues us into our next subject. Yeah. One of the things we want to talk about on this show, we want to be open to all subjects because we want to educate our audience while we learn ourselves.
Sure.
And one of the things that is a part of our world now is the gender identity, transgender community. And we want to make sure that we are a show that talks intelligently about all topics.
Right.
And so, again, we want people to understand what this is and what it looks like and how it's a part of our world. Okay, so again, we want to talk about it on this show, and we hope that at the end of this show that it has taught somebody something or helped you better understand what's going on in our culture. It's here to stay. These are people that are part of our world, are part of our communities, our lives, our work lives, our home lives, our school lives. And again, we just want to make sure that we have as much information so that we don't exclude anybody or discriminate against anybody at all. So we just want to talk about it. So guys, this is, again, it's a sensitive topic, of course, but again, it's one that I think we all know that we don't need to run away from because we're talking about real people.
You can't run.
We're talking about real people in real situations. That again, the cancel culture sometimes impacts them.
Absolutely.
Laws and rules can impact this community.
Right.
And again, so we just want to, as much as we can do in our segment, understand what we can and talk about some of our thoughts on it. And I think that's fair for our audience out there. And again, hopefully it'll help somebody. And if you need more information, go seek more information and just learn what you want to learn about it. Okay. So let's just talk about the gender identity, that whole thing. Do y'all think we even and let's talk about as our nation, do we fully understand it? Do you think we fully even understand it?
I don't think so.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't think we understand it, and I think we need to be honest about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And open up the conversation to those who give titles to themselves,
Yes, sir.
who identify differently than what we would think the standard practice
norm
is.
is, yeah.
And have the open conversation to be able to see life through the lens that they see things through and get a clearer understanding of what that represents.
Right.
And with no judgment, but at least to be open to have a clear understanding of where that person is coming from and the lens that they see things through and what got them to that point.
Right.
That's good. That's good.
I mean, it's a super sensitive area,
Sure.
but it comes down to people choosing not to educate themselves at times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because
That's
of
true.
it's not the norm.
Right.
Right. So being who I am and the position that I'm in with this upcoming generation, I have to know, I have to educate, I have to learn so that I know how to assist or I know how to speak, I know how to do certain things. But I think it just boils down to just people choosing not to be educated
Sure.
because of no, that's not what we do. No, that's not.
Which-
And that's something that's always going on.
And you said a key point because you said because we don't believe it's normal,
Yeah.
but normal to us.
Normal to us.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Because what is normal?
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Right.
Our assumed
Correct.
identity of what's normal.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think it just comes down to just being open-minded enough to have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, I dated a woman once who was a licensed therapist,
Okay.
and anyway, I did date before I got married. I mean, so I dated a woman once who was a licensed therapist, and I can honestly say that she helped me because prior to dating her, being a church guy, you know, being a spiritual guy, things for me were very black and white.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were very black and white. It was either yes or no. It
Right.
was either right or wrong.
Right.
You know, and one of the things that she did help me to understand is that some things are gray.
Yes.
Some things
Yeah,
are gray.
some things
There
just are gray.
some gray areas.
Absolutely.
And you have to be willing to acknowledge
Yeah.
that there are gray areas. And then when you recognize a gray area, be willing to have a conversation about the gray area.
Right.
Because everybody can learn something in that if
Absolutely.
everybody's willing to be open
Yep.
to have the
Absolutely.
conversation.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things there is a fear
Yeah.
of something that I don't understand it. I don't recognize it.
Yeah.
It's not a part of who I am.
Right.
And especially when you think about in the Christian community, in the church community
Sure.
at large, it is, you know, it can be a subject that's very delicate.
Yes, sir.
In the
Absolutely.
church world.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, but again, there are a lot of there are a lot of lifestyles.
Yeah.
Sure.
that in our culture now.
Yeah.
There's the poly lifestyle.
Right.
The,
Yeah.
You know
Right.
the bigamy lifestyle.
Right.
There's so many lifestyles that
Right.
are out there that are a part of our world.
Right.
Not all of them the same in the United States or that there are in other countries,
Right.
but these varying lifestyles, it's out here.
Which
Right.
actually have always been.
Always.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Social media.
Social
everything.
media now
It gave
has
access.
exposed
Right.
us to
Exposed
it.
and gave
Right.
access to it.
And I think and I think what you said is important, great. When you all alluded to it, it's the conversation. What do I want to know?
Wow.
Am I interested enough to know? And I will say that for me, I have teenage sons
Sure.
who have friends,
Right.
and I don't know the sexual nature of everybody, all of our friends. The
Absolutely.
friends that I know, I know.
Right.
But again, what I don't want is for my sons to have a friend and not be able to be a friend
For sure.
Wow.
because of
sure.
Right.
how somebody identifies.
Right, absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think we have a responsibility to respect and the right. And Jeff, you looked up earlier. You talked about
I
that
did.
word respect.
I did.
To respect the rights of people to believe
Yeah.
and live how they feel
They
they are
should live.
purposed to live.
Right.
Now,
Yeah. So
as long as it does not include illegal
Absolutely.
now, because you know what I mean. Now, because
right.
that's a whole nother matter when you
Right.
talk about things. Now you can't
crossed the
be
line.
you can't welcome in my house if you live in a life that you here eating dinner, but then you robbing banks,
Right.
And all that
Absolutely.
kind of,
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
a whole different.
Absolutely.
lifestyle.
That's a robber. That's a criminal.
robber. That's
Yeah,
illegal.
that's a criminal.
Right.
But I think it's up to us individuals to things that don't
For choices, a lifestyle choice.
like choices
Right.
that we don't necessarily understand or in some cases agree with. It's okay to not agree with something. I
Right.
think that I don't think that people necessarily get mad at people because they don't agree with it.
Right.
For sure.
It's when you're trying to take away
Yeah.
the right for me to believe
Yeah.
and what I choose to believe.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
you
Jeff, go to that.
mentioned the word respect, and I had some difficulty with understanding it in this context. And it says one of the definitions says due regard for the feelings, wishes, rights, or traditions of others. There's an example, young people's lack of respect for their parents. But so with that, I think that the onus is on leaders, no matter what sphere of influence they're in, and parents, but for everyone, but especially leaders and folks. I think the onus is on us to understand about the different cultures.
Absolutely.
Because if we're going to deal with people and deal with them fairly and with respect, then we got to know about it.
Yeah.
We got to take time and ask a person.
Absolutely.
So tell me, what's going on with this?
And here's how I look at that. If I had a relative that identified with a different gender, would I stop loving that relative?
Right.
Would I not be compassionate about that relative?
For sure.
No, my love for them would be the same.
Yeah.
That does not change my love for them.
Right.
It does not change what I believe religiously.
Right.
Or any, and I think that's what people try to think. Well, it's okay to believe how you believe, but again, I would not stop loving that person that I'm related to.
Nor interfere with.
No, interfere with them.
And the thing is, hey, man, because I don't agree with it, doesn't mean that because you may not agree with me.
Absolutely.
Going to the buffet and getting 3 helpings.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's just
absolutely. And we laugh because it's a funny comparison, but it is
just
that
a real.
it's just that simple.
Choice.
Yeah,
It's just that
my
simple.
choice.
It's your choice,
Yeah.
and we can't. Let me give you. And I think one of the problems is there are different terms that people don't understand. So let me give a few terms that looked up and just regarding sexual orientation refers to the gender you're attracted to. Okay.
Say that again.
Okay.
Sexual orientation refers to the gender that you are attracted to.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So you're
Right.
Gender identity is one's innermost concept of self as a male, a female, a blend of both, or neither.
Okay.
That's how you view yourself.
Okay.
Right.
Now, there is a clinical definition called gender dysphoria.
Right.
Say that again.
Gender dysphoria.
Okay.
It's a distress caused when someone's birth gender is not the same one which they identify.
Wow.
Okay.
So they were born one way. So again, that's a clinical term.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, I think part of that learning process is finding out what things mean.
Right.
So that we don't ignorantly just throw words around and phrases around
Absolutely.
that don't mean anything. It's no different than if I had something else that you didn't know what it was, and you just you just call it anything. Because again, what we're talking about are people.
Absolutely.
Right.
These are not inanimate objects.
And,
These
and
are
at the end of the day,
these are people.
that's their choice.
And
It's choices.
Absolutely.
And we have to be thoughtful. One of the things that I can appreciate about the church that I am a member of, the House of Hope Atlanta, one of the things that I can appreciate about the pastor, Dr. E. Dewey Smith, is that he has always, what's the word? He has always inspired and cultivated a thoughtful culture.
Right.
I remember not long after I first started attending House of Hope, we had a Wednesday night Bible study. And that particular Bible study, he literally just stood at the mic and started asking questions. One of the things that he brought up was about homosexuality and transgender and gender identification. And one of the things that he brought up, which again, I was able to start to think, that is a gray area, is children who are born with both sex organs.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, based on now the doctors might base it on maybe what they're able to see more of or things of that sort. But then the doctors and the parents take it upon themselves to make the decision on which one to keep and which one to release.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens when that child grows up and gets to a point and they say, well, I don't identify with the decision that you made.
Yeah.
Right.
You see, that's a gray area.
Yeah.
You see, and so when we start to unpack certain things,
Yeah.
it starts to say, well, who am I now to be so critical of you and so judgmental of you
Right.
when you're dealing with something that I didn't have to deal with.
Right.
That wasn't my story. That wasn't my,
Right.
you understand what I'm saying? And so I'm just using that as an example.
That's great. That's
Just
great.
as an example of, you know, we have to be mindful that there are situations. Now, of course, it's not every situation, but we have to be mindful that there are situations out there that it's cause and effect.
That's why it's good to know people's story.
You have to, and everybody's not going to share their story.
Yeah, they're
with
not
you.
gonna share
And so
it.
you,
Right.
who are we to go flying off the handle
Right.
and just,
And
you
that's
know,
where that respect goes
Yeah,
back
yeah,
to Jeff
absolutely.
Red.
Absolutely,
You
man.
have to respect. Again, however, I got to where I am.
I
Right.
am where I am.
I am where I am.
Yeah.
And we can't, I think, and I will say this, the church community as a whole, I will say this, that we should want the best
Absolutely.
for everybody.
I agree.
Right.
Absolutely.
I do agree.
Yeah.
Without judgment,
I do
without
agree.
Right.
We should just earnestly want the best life that each person can live.
Right.
Now, what that means for each individual
Yeah.
is different.
Yeah.
What the best for somebody looks like for me
Sure.
will be different.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I don't have the right
Right.
Right.
to impose
Right.
that
Right.
on anybody.
Well,
But see, I think that's one of the common issues, not just with this subject, but even if you go back historically to just our skin pigmentation, right? You have people who feel that
Sure.
they have the right
Wow. Wow. Good point.
to tell you what you can do and what you can't do.
Sure.
And I think generationally that that's always been a part of culture to where I have the authority or the right to tell you what's right or wrong.
Wow.
Or I have the authority to give my opinion, and
Right.
my opinion is factual.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right?
And
Okay.
outweighs yours.
Yeah. All right, let's look about something a little different. And this, guys, this is a great conversation for us. Let's talk about the sports. You know, there's a big, it's a big thing with, transgender athletes. So what are your thoughts on that, transgender athletes? Those who had the transition, competing now as your new assigned gender.
So I have a as athletes, a lot of us are athletes, right? I firmly believe that there should just be a separate category created. Only because what's happening today is it's a huge disadvantage where, like for me, if I choose to shift to become or identify as female, I'm 220 solid.
Yeah.
And depending on the
Gotcha.
sport
Okay.
that I play,
Sure,
Right.
I'm going to dominate.
Right.
Gotcha.
I'm going to break records.
Right.
And so that does a lot of harm
Right.
to
Makes sense.
women basketball
Right.
or women golf when I have a clear advantage.
Right.
Now, it's some sisters, the females out here that can tear me up in the
Right.
sport.
Right.
But the reality is, it hurts the sports arena, the
Wow.
realm. So my opinion in that is just create a transgender athlete. If they identify transgender female, boom,
Yeah.
they have their own
Yeah.
race or their own
Yeah.
league
I get
so
it.
that they can compete amongst.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say the same with that. I do think that it's the level of fairness
Yeah.
Yeah,
goes away.
Yeah.
that's right.
If I had my little petite daughter,
Yeah.
and then a young man who's strong,
Right.
filled with testosterone, and all of a sudden chooses to identify and be a transgender
Yeah. Yes, sir.
person and goes into that sport,
Yeah.
man, I'm gonna feel some kind of way. Like,
Sure.
man, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Daughter gonna feel something.
And I can,
Yeah,
and
that's not fair.
And I can agree. You guys know I'm not a sports guy, but
Right.
at the end of the day, that's just, in my opinion, just common logic.
Right,
Yes,
right.
sir.
It comes
right.
down to a standpoint of it's not necessarily the fact that you shouldn't be included, but there should, but you should have your own
right,
lane.
Your own
right.
lane.
They shouldn't. Yeah,
It should
that's,
have
that's
its
to
own
say
lane.
that
For sure.
I don't think that you should not be included.
Right, right.
Like you should have the opportunity to
Right.
play sports.
Right.
but it should be
It
something
should be in a
designed.
lane of others that also
Absolutely.
identify.
So there's fair equity.
Right, absolutely.
That's good. That's good. And again, I don't know whether these conversations are being had in the sports world or not. But again, it seems like a fair argument to have.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of debate lately in the sports arena.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of because it's starting to affect fans. It's starting to affect the athletes themselves. Even all the way up to the Olympic level.
I just heard it discussed today that they were doing testing on the levels of testosterone and estrogen and all that sort of thing.
Wow.
So that's how serious it is now.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it just comes down to fairness.
Yeah.
I mean, and us, y'all know I'm a movie man. I think about Juana, man, with with Miguel Núñez.
Yeah.
I mean, you
But that's reality.
That's not
now.
right.
For sure.
He was
He dominated.
But it's mentally, it's almost like saying, it's just like, man, boom, boom. It's not significant, but it's similar to PEDs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's how strong the topic is now.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So again, a lot going on, guys. Again, great topic. Again, for those of you at home, we hope that we just gave you some insight and you got really honest opinions from us. Again, we are not the experts, but we do feel that as 4 African American men,
Absolutely.
it's our responsibility with our platform to talk about issues that are not normally talked about. And we do that hoping that we don't come off as judgmental to any group at any time on any show. We're here to give you entertainment, information, perspective from our point of view. And thank you for those of you who write in and talk to us about what you'd like to see on this show. So again, if you want more information, it is certainly out there. Again, we just want every human being, every person, every community to be able to be represented fairly and be allowed to live in the way that they choose to live. Again, as long as it's not breaking the law, like we alluded to earlier. So again, thank y'all so much for joining us for this episode. Join us next week for a great show. We've got more coming for you. For behalf of my co-host, Greg Kirkland, DeMarcus Smith, Jeff Fauntleroy, and our outstanding support team behind the scenes. Thanks to all of them. We thank you for joining us for the conversation.